It's another great weekend worth celebrating. This is Enterprise Weekend, reaching you from Enterprise Television. I am Henry Igwibike.
And I'm Choma Okoya.
All right, we'll soon be moving to our newspaper headlines this morning. And right after that will be our main conversation also for today. And while we get all that sorted out for you, please do well to be part of our community. Have a say in what we say. You can always find us at enterprisetvnews.com and also like, comment, and follow us on all our social media platforms at Enterprise TV 7. With us today in the studios to look at all that we have for our newspaper headlines is no other but Barrister Vanzo Feli, a barrister at law and public affairs commentator. Good morning to you, Barrister.
Good morning,
and welcome. All right, so without much, let's kickstart our newspaper headlines, but particularly we have an interesting story here, and that is from the Labour Party presidential candidate in the last election, Peter Gregory Obi, who said, "I am ready to be vice president if I see someone who will perform better." And we have it that the former Anambra governor and Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi has expressed his willingness to consider a vice presidential role in the 2027 general election. And he stated that in an exclusive interview with a TV station where he said, when asked about the potential of being a vice president, he said, "Quite frankly, for me, I am not desperate to be a Nigerian president. I am desperate to see Nigeria work. If I see people who can do the work better, I will." Pastor Vanzo Feli, some Nigerians have come up to say, that's a good one. It shows patriotism. It shows a leader that understands the need to have Nigeria first before him. Do you admit to that?
Partly. I agree with that partly. Also because the statement is conditional. If I see people who will do better, I will yield to be, vice president. I can embrace that role if I see people who will do better. Now the question is, who are the persons who can do better? Is it in light of the proposed merger that we're hearing about, or is it in light of the fact that, because the implication of statements like this is something about politics that I think people should understand. The bigger your followers or supporters, the more you should be cautious of how you speak without consultation. Because gradually you are no longer a man of your own in the manner of speaking. A lot of people are, but there are two ways to look at it. In one way, it could be altruistic. It could be just that, one of the things that Peter Obi did that made him gain credibility, bear providence over the years was his expressions on cutting down the cost of governance and the wastages in the polity. Yes, he has told us how he governed Anambra State. He will not allow people to cut corners and all that, and he will ensure that there is money in reserve for the coming generation and all that. Those were the things that inspired a lot of people. Okay, and when he came out, I wanted to contest. We saw the deluge of support that came with it, and during the election, we know that he won the election. It's not the case today because of malpractice. We know. We know. People, the children know.
So the 6 million votes wasn't really 6 million.
It was more than. It was more than. So we've seen all that if it were to be fair play, if we have free and fair election of fair play, he definitely would have cleaned it. And if we have a system that warrants that, he definitely would have cleaned it. But now this statement to some persons, depending on where you are seeing it from, will be, this is altruistic, this is how to talk as a leader. The agenda is not selfish, it's to promote the country. Okay? But for some other person, they'll say, wait a minute. We're working hard for you. Well, we want to push you up there as number one man, not playing second fiddle. So why are you making such expression and declarations? So some persons are disappointed. Some persons feel. But in politics and everything you do in life, you cannot satisfy everybody. The moment you try to be in the good book of everyone, you would have lost everything, your steeds and all that. So the statement is neither good nor bad. That's how I say it, depending on who is doing the analysis.
Okay. Thank you, Barrister Evans Sufedi. Now, Peter Obi came out to say he's not going to leave Labour Party, But anyone that wants to talk would actually have to come over. That's to the Labour Party.
Yes.
Now, with the whole fracas that is happening within the Labour Party, to the point now that he's been accused of even siphoning some money for campaign, how well do we say 2027 is going to favour him? Because he don't want to leave Labour Party, and the chairman of Labour Party, looking at the way things are playing out, is not in support.
There's something about the Labour Party leadership. If you look at the Labour Party leadership very, very clearly, and if you have discernment, you will notice that the Labour Party leaders in that program, they don't want to win any election. They are not interested. What they want to make money for candidates. That's what they are doing.
So it's not like they are moles. They are not, right?
They're not like they are moles, but you see, from what I see, Abore's objective, for example, I don't think is to win, to become a party that produces a president that win election. I don't think so.
Now, and this would strongly have an effect on Peter Obi.
Yes, it will. But the thing about politics is you can say this in the morning, and in the evening when the cloud gathers, you can take a detour. He said he wasn't going to leave PDP. But when they started plotting even from the primaries already, it was clear that he's not going to have a chance. So that's why he left. You understand? But he said that if he wasn't going to leave, even when he was in Abga, he said he wasn't going to leave Abga.
Yeah.
He left. See, politics is not as clear as we think. Circumstances and consultations and widespread. Sometimes you cannot hold on to what you have said yesterday in politics today. The reason is the dynamics are so. Politics is not a clear science.
Okay, sorry to cut you short. Now, at this point where you say politics is not a clear science, now I want to read out something. The allegations extended to leaders of Afenifere, including Pa Ayo Adebanjo, Akin Osotoko, and Sola Ibiesen, whom Arabambi accused of retaining over 600 million in private accounts. The fund, he claimed, were meant for the party's campaign, but were diverted under Obi's instruction. Now, if we're saying politics is not as clear as it is, and if we go through the records of Peter Obi from Anambra, he was able to manage the resources, left a lot of money in the coffers of Anambra state accounts when he left as the governor. And at this point where he just did the election last year, they are accusing him of over 600 million that was diverted under his instruction. Now, using your word that politics is not as clear as we think, should we believe that, okay, Peter Obi is capable of search?
No, you cannot vilify him without evidence. This is somebody, he that alleges must prove. The people who are making these allegations, have they proven it?
Because now...
is it proven? No, see, anybody can make expression that under my instruction, someone diverted this money. Under his instruction, someone diverted this. You understand? Diversion, what do you call diversion? Perhaps the money was moved for another purpose other than the purpose of
yes.
You understand? But these allegations, have they been proved? Has he been convicted for diverting money?
The chairman had to instruct the FCC to investigate the lady Yusuf, Peter Obi, Aisha Yusuf, Peter Obi, and co.
Yes. Have they concluded investigation? Have they been indicted? Have they been prosecuted? So, you see, it's only a court of law. I have the power to say, truly, based on the fact before the court, this person did what, when, and how. So, if the allegation, most of the information you get during politicking and all that, they are for different objectives. I remember then in University of Jos, when we were, campaigning for SUG president, general secretary, and all that. Sometimes you just wake up one morning and you see posters all over the place. And the presidential candidate has stepped down. The day to election, they have stepped down. They need to travel far and wide. We'll be making calls. From Narakuta hostel to Abuja hostel. The woman manipulate voice that he just delivered an interview. Then one day to election, you now see presidential candidate run off to all the hostels from room to room to tell people that it's a lie. Before he finishes that, he would have lost half of his credibility. So in politics, some falsehood are pushed to debase candidates. to make them appear not credible enough for the position they are vying for. So the objectives are, it's not just to, you must factor in a lot. Anything you hear in politics and you run with it. Look at how did Saraki become Senate president? How did he do it? Because it was said that you have more people from the APC in the National Assembly. You understand? Saraki plot a coup. Before the APC people arrived, they voted already and they had quorum. That was why he gave Buhari's first term. You see that the president sat up because we had an opposition as the leader of the National Assembly. It was tough for Buhari to meddle up things. It was tough in his first term because Saraki was there. Unfortunately, Saraki did not come back as a Senate president in the second term. He didn't even win the election at all. You understand? Yes. Then that's not just the case. Look at this man from Kaduna, Shehu Sani. He did not return because they plotted against him. And some of this is own. Before he arrived, the what do you call it now, the primaries venue. The venue had been changed, the election had been conducted, it would not have been declared. Before he got to the old venue, he was at the old venue when they declared the winner. So that is what you do in politics. You can't run with. I don't believe that Peter Obi diverted. How much?
After all, Peter Obi stated that he actually contributed 100 million naira to that campaign. So I wonder where that's coming from. But I'd love to ask you, just before we move on to the next newspaper, do you see a re-emergence of Atiku and Obi candidacy 2027?
If the APC is talking with, if the PDP is talking with the Labour Party, the tendency that Atiku will emerge is very high. And
you see the chances of them clinching it?
Perhaps the highest contributor.
Yeah, he is.
In terms of financial institute. If both of them come back, APC having been tested with what is going on, and maybe some of this other small party join forces, because PDP alone, with APC alone, may not...
with Labour Party.
PDP alone and APC, without the Labour Party and any other political party, may still end up the same way. You understand? But the Labour Party join forces and you now have the other parties, NPP and all of those will join. There's a tendency that with the way APC have been so degraded, they've lost credibility heavily. There's a tendency that, but my fear is that Atiku is not for me. Atiku for me is not... We don't fix anything.
Really?
Atiku is the old guy. Atiku wouldn't do, except maybe but one thing Obi is not talking about and looking at is that being a vice president, you can be easily sidelined. You have no role in the constitution. So all the vigor and power and support, when people push those support to Obi, it's only to the credit and advantage of Atiku. Assuming or not considering that they're going to come out together. So, in that case, Atiku is just going to benefit from his proximity to Obi. But whether Atiku have capacity and credibility to fix the country, I doubt it.
All right, let's see how that works, though, and we hope that we'll still, of course, get the developing stories from that. But let's go to the Saturday Vanguard newspaper, where we have the big story here. As federal government Dangote reach agreement on petrol supply. Lifting begins tomorrow. And
now on the top strip of the Vanguard newspaper, on hardship. Animal feed now delicacy to some families. Nigerians speak on their desperate struggles to survive.
And still on that matter, we have Maiduguri flood disaster. 2 die in stampede for food.
Moving on health. Breakthrough drug kills cancer cells without harming healthy tissues. Details are on page 9. That is a good story.
All right, so let's maybe take a look at that.
Okay, before we take a look at that, let's look at this story. Wike explodes. There's PDP governors not ready to forgive Fubara. Edo Rek is my cousin. Nobody can intimidate him. Details are on page 7.
Wow. That's a big one.
Yes.
From Edo State and Wike himself. But what do you have to say about that? What's your submission to all of this? We hear, Wike, doing. The strong will is becoming enormous. Don't you think so?
Well, Wike has always been like that, unbending, uncompromising. As long as it's not to his advantage, that thing will not work. And as long as you are speaking from the outside, make peace with Fubara, it will not work. As far as you are gathering and you are having an alliance with Fubara or you're friends to him, Wike declares you an enemy. And I don't think that is how to play politics. That's not how to play politics. The politics that Wike is playing is politics of unforgiveness. It's not just tied to interest. Wike's politics goes beyond interest. He vilifies. He just, people like that, the day they start to fall, just like the Holy Spirit said, they will have a great fall. A great fall because they would have had problems with everybody around them. So who slept? The way this larger than life and playing the role of God in the life of men doesn't always turn out good. Because at some point you must know limits. At some point you have to withdraw from. It's not every day your voice is the only voice that is being heard. Vilifying everybody around you, the political party. The only person that we can not fought with now is the president. He has fought with everybody. In fact, the minister in the FCT, the senator in the FCT that is supposed to work with, is fighting with them. He's fighting with his own governor, fighting with PDP governors, fighting with everyone. I don't think that is how things are done.
Okay, now at this point now he has actually pulled in his cousin. Edo Rek is my cousin. Nobody can intimidate him.
Well, he's setting the agenda for the polity, to hit off the polity. That's what he's doing now. Because statements like this will mean that a member of a PDP is telling us that the person appointed by INEC or the president appointed the rec, yes. You're not telling us that it's your cousin, nobody can intimidate him. What do you mean by that? Are you telling us that it is your cousin to the extent that he's going to help to manipulate the process for PDP? Is that what he's saying? Because that's the implication.
For the APC.
For the APC, rather. Yeah, for the APC. Is that the implication? Okay. And which political party does Wike really belong to? I don't understand.
Does the Constitution permit an individual to be on both sides? So you can serve, but does the Constitution or the Electoral Act, make it mandatory or excuse that permission for someone to be here and be here?
No, he's not a member of the APC.
He's not a member of the APC.
Wike is not a member.
Official member of the APC.
He's not a member at all.
So, okay. So
no, he was appointed.
Okay.
At the appointment level, you are not talking party election again. Before election, we talk about party delineation. After election, we talk governance. Just that we're unable to differentiate it in Nigeria. But it's not a card-carrying member of the APC. It's not a supporter of the APC during elections. But he's a minister in the government. That in the election, the APC won in the center. So, in his political party, he has been accused for anti-party activities, which is clear. Because most of his proclamations and all that shows all that. But officially, he has not left that party. He's still a member of the party. So, whichever way he's managing it, that's his own business. But he should stop fighting everyone. Everybody cannot be wrong around him.
Very true.
There should be limits to what you put up in terms of violence.
All right. Finally, let's maybe go to Punch a newspaper for today. What do we have?
Yeah, the big story. APC, PDP, Labour Party trade tackles as parties mobilize huge funds for vote buying. We have about 2 writers to that particular story. Parties may pay 20,000 naira per vote. EFCC, INEC won against indictment.
All right, and just below that,
Rather.
all right,
Yeah.
just below that particular story, mass poisoning, free the Nigerian Canadian woman justifies a threat.
Okay, moving on. Unanswered questions 1 year after Mohbad's death.
All right, and just above it, petrol loading from Dangote refinery begins the next week, and that's coming from a marketer. There are lots of interesting stories here, but let's maybe take a look at this. I know it could be a steal, but since it's making the headline on the Punch newspaper on the case of Amaka, the lady, the Canadian and Nigerian lady who, of course, made the statement, of course, that went round. Of course, she's been freed. Nigeria is not Canada, obviously. But what do you think about that, especially when it pertains to Nigerians in the diaspora, making claims against the country?
Well, it's not. See, one of the things that Nigerians in diaspora do, one of the mistakes they make is that, like I was in the US and someone was saying that all the things people are doing in that country is rubbish. That's what they was telling me. I said, what do you mean by all the things? Some people, once they leave the country, they just begin to act, even when you are discussing with, even as lawyers. There was one that gave me a case to handle, and he was asking me what he should pay. And when I gave him the figures, how many people can see that money in Nigeria? And I look and say, oh God, I'm richer than you by far. Go and check. You are over there, it doesn't mean anything to me. It does not. But this is this escapist mentality that we against them all the time. You are in a location that doesn't mean anything. You are abroad. Doesn't mean anything. There are people in Nigeria that are far, far, far better, living far, far, far better. There are places we enter, even people that travel to the UK, the US and all that. In the UK in particular, there are places we enter in the UK and we buy things I want to pay. And we'll bring out the £100, bring out £50. They'll tell us that they cannot collect it. In Coventry, I gave a lady £50. I'll buy something. She said, no, that one is too much. That police is going to come and ask her.
Really?
Yes.
Well,
I have to go and get lower denominations. I'm telling you. So, but many Nigerians, when they are there, they begin to talk down on their country. They talk down on anybody, make reckless statements against the country and all that. It's not good enough, because at the end of the day, you are shooting yourself. Yeah, we have not gotten it right here. But that doesn't mean we are all together finished. In fact, this country got you started, but from here you left. So these Nigerians in diaspora, many of them need to be schooled. It was Aisha Yusufu that said that Nigerians in diaspora are the most foolish people on earth. She was pushed to the wall to make that statement because of the conduct of many of them over there. There are many of us here that choose not to live there. We can stay there too. Well, we choose not to. We go there and come back. So nowhere is perfect in the world. I can also give you, I gave beggars money in the US. In the US, I give beggars money the same way I do here. So what's so special and different from where they are here or Canada or whatever? If you are living in a city where they have infrastructure and it's working, fine. Good for you. But that doesn't mean people living elsewhere or people living in motherland that don't have hope. They don't have I don't think it's right. And part of what built this mentality is low self-esteem. With due respect to some of them, they have very low self-esteem. Many of them in diaspora.
Low self-esteem.
Yes,
wow.
They have low self-esteem. Many of them have low self-esteem. And that's what sometimes fuels. And sometimes the escapism mentality, which is also part of the. Then you also meet some of them that have superiority complex, which is dangerous. So, but if you see the ones that are the thoroughbred ones, those ones are professionals. They talk about solutions. They talk about how. I know a lot of persons who are over there that are doing a lot here, have NGOs here, fund it, raise, buy food, send grains, do a lot of things for communities and all that. That's what we spend our energy doing, not to go and make reckless statements about it.
But of course, there's nothing wrong in criticizing the governance.
No, it's not wrong. I'm not saying, I will not criticize it. In fact, Nigerians in the diaspora, they don't criticize government as the way we do here. We criticize them, but the criticism should be constructive, because when we criticize, you journalists used to ask us, what is the solution? You don't leave us, you don't allow us to leave that way without asking for the solution. And we talk about as much as we know the solution. So it should be constructive. Criticism should not be destructive.
But do you think Abike Dabiri is doing a good enough job in creating? Because you just provided a very simple analysis and possible solution to Nigerians in the diaspora and how they should relate when it concerns Nigeria. Do you think Abike Dabiri is doing a good enough job in that respect?
Abike has done quite some number of things, even though you criticize her for so many other, some issues that she has not handled well over the years. When the war started in Ukraine, and the people, Nigerians, had to be rescued, or some to Poland, and some are tried to displace. The owner of Air Peace did volunteer that and all that. The xenophobic attack in South Africa, where Nigerians had to be rescued, and so many other issues. We have seen how she has been handy. She has been handy in doing all those activities. You can criticize her too, because there are cases, individual cases I know about, that she was called upon to address that she never, with Geoffrey Yeman and all that. I had a client that was deported from Switzerland. He actually lived in Spain, but he went to Switzerland to seek asylum.
Oh, okay.
And it was, instead of them to deport him to Spain, where he came from, where he has resident permit, they deported him to Nigeria. I would push for the case, and I saw how Geoffrey Yeman didn't do anything about it. So you could point one or two cases, but generally speaking, they have done their parts. Those who have tried in some, they've made mark in some areas, and have failed in so many areas. So she's done her part. Let's uphold the dignity of this country. This country is not destroyed completely. No country is perfect in the world.
Very true.
Thank you, Barrister. Before we call it a wrap, let's look at this Edo government polls. APC PDP trade tackles as parties mobilize huge funds for vote buying, and parties may pay 20,000 naira per vote. If this should be the norm in 2024, starting with Edo, because in as much as Edo State is going to be a state poll, it's going to play a role come 2027.
Yes.
And if it's the coastal vote buying as huge as 20,000 naira, what is the hope for 2027?
You see, this vote buying is striving because there's a demand. That's an indictment on the electors. There's a demand. Can the electors, can they relinquish this demand? Can they decide not to take money? Because that 20,000 naira cannot take them more than that week, that election week. In fact, before the results are announced, they will be broke already.
But how about going the way of Anambra, where they were giving money, but still the electorates voted for who they wanted? The collector did very well and voted for who they wanted.
You see this thing about collect the money but vote for who you want to vote. I don't advise it.
Really?
No, I don't. See, the moment you collect money, you have discredited your soul. You have saw yourself, you have defied yourself. So I don't care what you are going to do thereafter. Whether you are going to collect money and vote for who you want to vote for. How am I sure that that person you are voting for was the person you really wanted to vote for? That is not the inducement. That is, can you really pinpoint the fact that all these people, they collected money, but they still voted their conscience? The moment you collect money, you don't know about conscience in the first place. So you shouldn't talk about collecting money and talk about conscience in the same sentence. You don't. You understand? So this thing about collect their money. But then vote for them, no.
So people will say it's our money, it's Nigeria's money. So
that is part of the corruption. See, that money you are saying is your money. You should earn it the right way. You shouldn't earn it through bribe. It's bribe. It's bribery and corruption. That is vote buying. You are being induced. You are collecting gratification to exercise your civic responsibility. Civic responsibility by law ought not to be in exchange for money. You understand? So when it becomes an exchange, you are trading it. You are trading your allegiance, meaning you are not even sure of the future, whether these people will do the right thing or wrong thing, but you want to collect your own up front. It's prodigal. And that's what is happening. The country will not change with prodigality. It will not.
Thank you very
much. Very true. I wonder how that would work in a country where some states have not still started paying 70,000 naira minimum wage. 20,000 naira is a big deal for lots of people. At least that could put one or two on the table.
Are you asking them to collect gratification? I thought you should say they should stay away from that.
We are not supporting them to actually collect any bribe or sell their votes. We are just actually looking at the situation of things and how some governors and some states have not actually made it conducive for them to say, okay, I don't want to collect this. I want to do the right thing. Yeah.
After all, they call it breakfast. Money for breakfast.
But after the breakfast, what's next? That's just it.
All right, so this is just about the size of our segment today, and we'll love to say thank you to Pastor Fasufeli.
Thank you,
and to let you know that he will be here possibly to take us on our main conversation also.
Yeah, and when we return, Tinubu's disappearance sparks widespread concern. We'll find out in a bit. Don't go anywhere.